Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Every Day is Friday. Today's guest is Grant, a personal coach who helps men outgrow their limits and take charge of their lives. Before we dive in, make sure you subscribe so you never miss an episode. Let's get into it. I'm excited to have you on the show, Grant.
Me too, man. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, let's have a lot of fun. And for the listeners who may not be familiar with your line of work yet, can you give us a quick rundown of who you are and what you do?
Man, so first of all, thanks for having me on. So what I do is I take everything I've ever experienced throughout life, all the way from like the way of my upbringing. I had a very strong like female influence in my life. I guess I was raised by my mom, my grandma, my grandpa, my uncle. But like my sister, I have a ton of sisters, half sisters. My dad's been remarried a bunch of times. But I grew up primarily on my mom's side of the family. And my dad was this big abusive alcoholic guy growing up. So I never actually lived with him, but I got to experience it. So anytime I'd be with him, whatever, there'd be like, abuse, but it was this constant fear that I was always in. One, always afraid of him kicking the shit out of me, but also like wanting to be enough for him. Cause I was like, I have a much older brother than it's a bunch of girls and then me. And I was always like a big guy. So a big thing to me was, it was like, he was proud of me because of how big I was. He was always talking like, you're going to be next Michael Jordan, which, man, if you've ever seen me play basketball, you would know he was way off on his predictions of that one. But like I got big into football, and I actually got into football to try to create a relationship with him. So I grew up thinking that my size was like my connection to him until we went to an amusement park. I don't know if you're familiar with like Northern Ohio, up at Cedar Point, and all the girls went, and then I went to go in with him, and they tried charging him for me. And kids, I think 8 or 9 and under, got in for free. And he's like, this kid's 7. And they're like, there's no way this kid's 7 years old. Like, because I was so big. And he ended up taking me out to the parking lot, and he beat the shit out of me. And it immediately sent this vibe through me of like this idea of like, be big, but don't be too big. So it kind of put me into this role where I think I felt much more comfortable in my feminine energy around him, because like to be masculine and big was like challenging him. So it was kind of like this idea of being, and let me clarify, these are all the realizations I have now. It's not like back then I was like, let me do this and this. I had no idea what was going on. So I experienced like the quote unquote trauma you would through a lot of physical abuse and mental and everything that was going on. But I always had it shaped for me through like my mom's side of the family. So I felt my whole life like I walked between two worlds. And I'm a bigger guy. Like, man, I'm not trying to be like a massive, but I'm a bigger dude. I got muscle, I got a beard, tattoos. And I guess like if you look at me, you're like, it's a man's man. So what happens is it's been able to interrupt people's thought pattern, because when they see me, they think they're going to get something completely different. So when I start talking about emotion and subconscious and habits and pattern forming and pain and trauma and all these things, it catches people off guard. So I use that to my advantage. And what I do is I work with people. And I recently just shifted over to working directly with only men, because I think there's such a need for it right now, especially on the political and our societal landscape. But I've spent the last 14 years just working with people in general, helping them overcome their traumas, their pains, their belief systems, everything. Like you name it. I've worked with people that have been on the edge of suicide, to people that can't quit relapsing on addictions, to substances, to millionaires who have built and created amazing businesses, but they don't know how to embody it, and their family life is falling apart. So I'm able to take all these things, and I hear what people say, which is like our story. Like we all have a story. We all have a story, and that's like our repeated repertoire of what we're very comfortable sharing with the world. But I end up hearing everything people don't say, and then I can mirror it back to people, because we all have glitches in our stories also. So I help mirror that back to people, and we together, it's not like with the goal of going, hey, gotcha. It's that like we're side by side trying to find the parts of our lives that we kind of turn a blind eye to. And instead of like therapy and going back and let's understand these and everything, it's like, okay, we know what the stimulus is. Now we know we just have to contrast that with different behavior patterns moving forward. And then we create a plan and we just move forward in life.
Yeah, how do you explain what recalibration means to someone who's never heard of it in your line of work?
Yeah, so recalibration would be kind of like, I'd say, the third step. Because first you have to get honest with yourself, which means you have to face your truth. Then you have to grow awareness around it and understand what it is. And then the recalibration is actually restructuring your behaviors and your systems. And then it's the full integration of it. Because so like you're recalibrating everything that feels baselined in your life. Like what feels normal? What was my normal patterned habitual response? How do I respond to fear? Like it's almost like a strange concept for some people to wrap their heads around. Like literally even while people hear this, everything you think you're hearing from me right now that you're either resisting or agreeing with, that's just part of your pattern belief system. And you could change that entire belief system in 66 to 365 days.
Yeah. So what step does how you say it, what does it mean to like outgrow your bullshit? What step is that?
So to me, that's something that happens before people even get to me for the most part. I mean, they have the realization, they're going, something's not working. And it's usually that they've spent their entire lives chasing the tangible 3-dimension quote unquote success, I guess, the body, the business, the hot person on your arm. Like, what does it look like? Like all the things we kind of grow up seeing in terms of like movie stars or like our favorite Instagram socialites, whatever it is that we look and we're like, oh man, I think they're successful. And what happens is it gets locked into your mind that if I want to be perceived by society as successful, I have to become these things. So we attain some variation of some of these things or all of these things, only to end up more depressed than ever because we still have all of our problems, because it's not, a lot of the times, it's usually not in alignment with who you are and what you actually want in life. So what happens is you get to this point where you're like, man, I thought this was going to solve all of my problems or be an answer to all the issues that I've ever had. And you get there and you're like trying it over and over and over, and you go harder into it. And this might be over the course of months, years, decades, whatever it might be. And eventually you hit a point where you're like, I have no idea. I don't know what to do. This isn't working. This isn't right. I'm done with my bullshit. Like, I'm ready to evolve past this. I'm ready to evolve past whatever my beliefs are. Like, I don't know what that looks like. I don't even know if that's a thing, but I got to try to figure it out. And that's where I kind of come into people's lives.
No, that's such a powerful message. I mean, that can make people really think,
Well, I think so much of that's all we do is think. That's all we do is think. We try to understand everything. We try to compartmentalize everything all the time. And that's logic. And when you're logical, you're in your brain. And your brain's only got 3 functions. It's survival, pain avoidance, and energy efficiency. So it's always going to kind of keep you on the same pattern of habitual thoughts and familiarities because the familiar is safe. So if I'm trying to stay alive, it doesn't care if I'm living a happy life. One second. Sorry about that. Your brain doesn't care if I'm living a happy life. It just cares that I'm alive. It's your place. It's your conscious responsibility if you want to be happy or fulfilled or whatever you want. That's on you. Your brain's not doing that. Your brain's just trying to keep you alive so that you can do all those things. So it's a thing that like most of us spend most of our lives feeling like we're under attack, we're a threat, we're not good enough, whatever the pattern belief systems are, whether it's my sense of worth or my value, body image insecurities, like whatever it is, but it keeps us in our brain. And our brain is just constantly finding more and more threats because if we see them, they can't hurt us. So we play out all these scenarios in our head too, to the point where, perfect example. I experience this with clients every year around the holidays. It's this played out scenario of like, I'm going to go home and then, Aunt Judy's going to behave this way and she's going to say these things. Oh, she's such a bitch. And she always does. Oh God, I don't even want to go. I don't even want to deal with it. So what are you saying to yourself? You are literally communicating to your own system. Well, Aunt Judy is a person. I'm a person. We're both humans. And I'm saying, I don't know what she's been doing for the last 12 months, but she hasn't changed. So my assumption is humans don't change. What you're communicating to your psyche is, I can't change either. So when you go to then to try to implement change in your life, it feels that much more difficult because your conclusion is people don't change. And it's like, the more you can learn these things, the communication you have with yourself, open your psyche up, which is one of the most vulnerable things you can do, because when you take that, it feels like you're turning a blind eye to someone holding a gun to your head. Because when you turn that eye to Aunt Judy, who's going to say the hurtful thing, well then, like, what if she gets me with it? What if she hurts me with it? Okay, but like, what if you're creating the scenario between you two? What if you're creating the dynamic? Because you're going in there and your body and your brain are so subjective, they don't know the difference between the 6 months leading up to Thanksgiving that you're playing out these scenarios where you're so angry at her because she's already done this to you that when you see her, your system triggers and now you're defensive. And now you're like heightened and you're responding like an asshole, not her. And she's actually just responding to you. But to you, it reconfirms Aunt Judy's mean, whatever it is. Now take that and apply it to every relationship that we have, every interaction that you have, the way you see the world, your conclusions about yourself, others, and the entire world around you. And that's going to contra behaviors.
Yeah, your mind has to be stronger than your emotions.
Right. But your emotions create your thoughts. And that's the biggest catch. And I'd say something maybe controversial, but people don't really expect me to say a lot of the time. Like Andrew Tate, there's a lot of things he says that I agree with. I think overall he's got a good message. I think the part where people are like, oh, this is horrible or it's toxic, I think it needs to go a little bit further. He says things like control your emotions. Well, he's right. You got to control your emotions. Otherwise, they're going to completely control you. The part that he doesn't talk about is you need to learn how to master your emotions. The whole point of you want to talk about being a man or like even just a responsible human being is feeling and knowing everything that you feel and not allowing it to control you and own every part of your life. That's ultimate, because emotions are just energy in motion. Energy doesn't get created or destroyed, which means that energy is going to stay in with you. You dictate what that energy is, whether it's anger and resentment and like conflict and rage within you, or you can transmute it into being joy, gratitude, like excitement, whatever you want it to be. And people hear that and they're like, oh, this is so woo-woo. And it's like that's fine. But that's also the part that you're going to have to keep experiencing life the way you do till you get to the point where you go, all right, I'm willing to try something different.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, Grant. What's the first step someone should take when they want to change?
Well, you have to decide what it is that you want to change. You know, I think when people are finally like, okay, I need to do something, I need to change, I need to shift something in my life, it's real easy to become so incredibly overwhelmed because I feel like this giant mountain in front of you. It's like, man, like it's that idea of like, how do you eat an elephant? And you like, where do you start? And it's like just one bite at a time. Just like find one aspect, one part, one thing about yourself that you're like, man, I want this part to be different. And you have to grow awareness around it. What are my patterns? Like, what do I do? What is the sequencing that happens around this? And then learn how to catch it. And you have to be honest with yourself. So many people are afraid of looking at their own truth because they're so afraid of what the answers might be. But the reality is, like, what if you actually might really like what the answers are? And if there's a part of you that you don't like, it's already there. Like, it already exists. It's not like people are, I would have these conversations with people. I used to do a lot of work with people around plant medicine and like help them integrate and stuff like that. And people would also talk to me about it in advance. And they're like, I'm really scared to do it. I'm scared of what I'm going to see or what I'm going to find out about myself. Like, well, you're not going to find out anything that you don't already have within you. That's not already being carried with you. So it's like you're already trying to like turn a blind eye to it. It's like I like have an arrow shot into my leg, but I just, man, like something hurts, but I don't want to look at it. It doesn't mean it's not there, and it doesn't mean it's not going to eventually get infected if you don't do something about it. So look down. Yeah, it might be uncomfortable to see, but now you can attack the cause. You can figure out and you can change. You can't really hit a target that you can't see.
No, that's a great takeaway. I told this to my brother the other day. I go, you have to have a goal. I've had goals throughout my whole journey here on my podcast. 100 episodes was one of my goals, and I achieved it. And then it's on to the next goal. You have to have something to go towards to actually like to strive you to wake up every day, to have something to drive you towards that goal. I mean, if you don't have anything you're shooting at, I mean, you don't know what direction to go. I mean, the beginning is the hardest part, and it's also the most fun for a lot of people out there, whatever they do, but then they get lost. So you have to have some type of goal in mind. And why is mindset so important in life?
Well, it's because mindset's just whatever you decide to set your mind on. And if you're not conscious about it and intentionally putting something in there, your mind's always going to go to the negative. And if it goes to the negative, it's always going to focus on the threat, which is going to paralyze you. This is why we're plagued with so much anxiety, all the way down to, anxiety is essentially fear of the unknown. And nobody knows how they're going to be perceived in the world because I don't want to say nobody, the majority of people aren't showing up. And they're not showing up because the reality is I don't think many people know how to show up anymore. Women have been preached to, be a boss ass bitch. Men have been said, you're oppressive if you have any kind of aggression to you and you're the scum of the earth and the patriarch and all these things. Like everyone's told all these things that they are. And then we're broken down into our gender and sexuality and our religion. And then, not only that, now we're also judged based on which side do you defend, which side do you agree with, like all these things. And then we're ascribed all these characteristics. So many people are afraid to actually stand in their own truth of who and what they are. And the ones who do, I think, I don't want to blanket statement stuff and speak in absolutes, but the majority of them, a lot of people that are willing to stand in their truth become so outspoken because they're playing out the same scenario already in their head. They're not going, oh, this is so liberating for me to just speak freely as me. They're playing it out that like they already have their adversaries and what people are already saying. So when they say it, they're not actually just saying it freely. It's like they're in an argument already with an unidentified competition or somebody that's telling them how wrong they are. And this is, obviously the majority of this is all the way they perceive of what's going to happen online because now we live in a digital world. Because the reality is the majority of people who will talk crap to you online, you can see them in person. They'll never say anything to you. Like they're never actually going to say anything. But we're so afraid to show up as who we truly are in the world. but it's the most liberating thing. And people will be like, oh, it's vulnerable. In this world, vulnerability has become so bastardized. Vulnerability is not like this rare gift to give to someone. It's for you. Like, you're the one who experiences the high of it when you stand in your truth, when you own everything that you are. Like, when I go out and I speak on stages, oh man, you got, like, no matter what, you got a little bit of those nerves in you. And here's a perfect example of the whole idea of like how you can dictate what your energy is. I can either say it's excitement or I can say it's nervousness. Either way, my breathing's a little bit different. I got a little bit of nerves in me. I'm like feeling something. So I get to dictate and go, man, I'm so excited. Or I get to go, oh my God, I'm so nervous. Like, and the way I dictate that is going to completely impact the way I show up on that stage. But when I step off of that stage, I'm the one with the high. Maybe some people in the crowd got a little hyped up, whatever it is. I'm the one who's like, whoa, man, like what a rush. Because I'm the one experiencing the dopamine of it. I'm the one experiencing all the rush. Vulnerability is for you. Vulnerability is a gift to give to yourself. And most people are denying it. But everyone does this, oh, like vulnerability, like shut up. Like, oh my God, like I'm going to be honest with you now. like, just hear what you're saying. You should live in that all the time. Otherwise, what you're saying is, I'm going to be vulnerable now, and the rest of the time I'm going to be full of shit. And it's like, that's us. And again, when we're, quote unquote, not being vulnerable, we're living in that little bit of story that we're willing to share with the world because we feel safe with it.
Yeah, putting yourself in situations you don't feel comfortable in, you get the most growth out of that.
Well, it's like, because discomfort forces adaptation at the end of the day, and I always use the example of the gym. We literally go to the gym with the intention to fail. Like, because if you don't, and I'm not even getting into the whole argument about like, what do you take? Do you take reps to failure? Do you do this? I'm talking about like your goal, like you are not going to grow in the gym by picking up the exact same weight every single day, doing the same amount of reps, same amount of sets. Like, you have to change. You have to push yourself. You have to challenge yourself for your body to go, oh, wait, we need to adapt. We need to overcome this, and we have to get stronger. Because if you're just giving it the same stimulus day after day after day, and you're not experiencing a level of discomfort, your body has no reason to adapt. If you are only keeping yourself in comfortable situations, like, you don't have any reason to adapt. There's literally no biological reason to change.
Yeah, why do people feel stuck in the same patterns?
Well, it's because it's what your brain wants. It's like, think about, and I always use this example that, think about like, I don't know if it's like a job or a gym or somewhere that you drive on a regular basis, about 20, 30 minutes away. You drive there at least 5 days a week. You get to a point where all of a sudden you get there and you're like, man, like, how did I get here? Like, I blacked out. I don't even remember the drive here. And you're driving a 2-ton vehicle, like 60, 70 miles an hour at points, right turns, left turns, stoplights, intersections, all these things. Hopefully, like, you don't kill anybody on the way. And you did all of that on autopilot. Like, literally, like that's a pattern belief because your brain didn't have to think. Your frontal cortex wasn't having to fire. You weren't having to use any kind of logic or discernment. Your body just knew how to go. Your brain makes up 5% of your body's mass, but it consumes 25% of the calories you eat in a day. It does not want to have to work extra. Every time that you make your frontal cortex fire, like, it requires that energy to fire. So it wants to run on habits. It wants to run on programs because it's what it knows. So it craves familiarity. But what people don't realize, you can change whatever that is. For example, I go to the gym 5 days a week. I've trained for the last 26 years. 26 years. It would be weird for me to not go to the gym. It doesn't require discipline anymore. It doesn't require anything. It's my pattern. It's my program. It's so easy. It'd be so weird for me not to go. But for a lot of people that don't do that on a regular basis and they want to start living healthy, it feels very uncomfortable at first. Okay, like, anything different you do is going to be uncomfortable. Like, if I just quit going to the gym, it would be very uncomfortable at first. After a period of time, it would be very difficult for me to go to the gym. It would be so easy for me to lay around and do nothing. It's become so easy. I used to be over 300 pounds. It was so easy for me to smash 2 large pizzas as a snack. I'd get 75 wings from BW3s as a snack. Man, like, my brain doesn't even work like that anymore. But if I started doing that all the time, I'd go right back to that pattern style. I would take on that life. The point to all this is when we think of the word habits, we only think of like bad habits. We think of like smoking cigarettes or drinking or like whatever it might be. The reality is a habit is just a program. It's whatever your body, or it's whatever you repeatedly do. It's what you have to think about over and over. Like when you started brushing your teeth when you were a kid, you had to have like the little egg timer, or like a song you played, whatever it is. I think it was like row, row, row your boat. And it was like 2 minutes worth of brushing your teeth. Well, you do that long enough. You do that for years. You got to the point where you just walk around the house, you're brushing your teeth, you're doing 12 different things. You don't think, did I get that one? Did I get that one? You're like, you have a pattern you kind of go in. You don't even think about it anymore. You just have the conscious thought, I should brush my teeth. And then your body takes it from there. So it's very difficult for people to make change in their life. And we stick with what we know so much because literally your brain is craving it. Like, it's not you. You're not lazy. You're not a piece of shit. Like, it's not that you don't actually want to change. It's that you are stuck in a program. You have to create a pattern interrupt. You have to interrupt, like, whether that, and that could look like a lot of different things. So I picture, I think, was it called echocardiogram? Like the little beep thing that's your heart rate at the hospital. So it's usually pretty consistent. You have to create like a heart attack with it. You have to make it spike. You have to make it drop. You have to make it switch out of its normal little pattern. Because most of us on a regular basis, you do the exact same stuff at the exact same time every single day, the same pattern. Like we just do it. You know, try telling somebody that drinks coffee every morning to stop drinking coffee the next day. They're like, look at you like you're absolutely insane. They go long enough without doing it, they can't even imagine drinking coffee anymore. You have to create an interrupt. And so let's say a big thing I could literally try tomorrow is people always want to try to wake up earlier. They're like, I always oversleep. I want to get up early, whatever it is. Throw yourself out of bed tomorrow. Just do it. Just do it. Put your phone in the other room or whatever uses your alarm. Don't let it be anywhere within an arm's reach. Make sure you have to get up and go somewhere else. I set out some clothes with it. Put out some jogging clothes or whatever it is, some walking shoes, and put it on top of the phone. So one, you hear the alarm. Now you get up. Now you have to get up to go get it. So now I'm getting out of bed. Then on top of it, I already have I don't have a reason to not just put these clothes on. They're right here and I could do it. The reason would be is that I could just grab my phone. I could go lay back down in bed and you'll wake up an hour, 2 hours later and you'll feel like a shitty person because you'll just have done the exact same thing again. You're setting yourself up for success. Put those clothes on and just go for a walk. Could be a 10-minute walk. Doesn't matter. And then come back in. If you want to go back to bed, fuck, who cares? Go back to bed. But operate different. Choose to just see what happens when you move your body different, because all that's emotion. This whole idea of like, I want comfort, I want my bed. That's just a pattern. That's emotion. I'm craving comfort. That's emotion. Emotion, again, is energy and motion. Give your body different motion and you're going to experience a different emotion. So this is why people are always like, man, I didn't want to wake up this morning, but I got up, I went to the gym, I did this class, whatever it is. I worked, whatever it is. I feel so good now. I feel so different. And the odds are you go for that 10-minute walk, just try it. It's one day. Just try it and just see if anything feels different. If anything feels different, man, like what could be possible? And I'm not saying you have to change your entire life on a dime because you went on a walk. But if you're waking up every day right now with the same habitual kind of anxieties, maybe you're down on yourself, you know, one of the biggest things is nobody's ever woke up laughing, because all like that, again, happiness, joy, fulfillment, all these things, these are like higher frequency vibrations for you, like higher frequency emotions. And that requires your conscious effort. Anxiety, resentment, anger, fear, all these things, those are lower vibration. It doesn't really require anything out of you. That's why you wake up in bed and what do? We all roll over, we grab our phone. First thing we do as and for the first 20 minutes you're awake, your brain is operating in theta, which is like a sponge, which is what we are as children from conception till about 7, 8 years old. So your brain's operating in theta. That's why when you're a kid, you absorb, you're a sponge, you absorb everything. So this also is the idea of why they always say like, make your bed first thing in the morning. You're invested into your day. That sponge in your brain is absorbing that, going, man, like we're invested. We do these things whether we want to or not. Now we're going to probably carry that out a little bit more throughout the day. So you kind of set your culture up in those first 20 minutes of the day. So, but we roll over in bed, pick up our phone. We want to get connected to things that we know. What do? We check, and business people, entrepreneurs are going to be like, oh, I got my business. I got to check on my employee. No, you're serving everybody else before you serve yourself. That's what you're communicating to your system. Everyone else comes before me. So you check all those things, and like inevitably we open Instagram, Facebook, whatever social media platform. We start scrolling because the dopamine starts coming in. So we're programming ourselves, man, get that dopamine, those hits, likes, shares, message, whatever we got. All those things release dopamine within us. And people go, well, what's the big deal with that? It feels good. Okay, well, what's the big deal with doing Coke? What's the big deal with alcohol? Like all these things are addictive. We become addicted to them and they change and control our behavior. And Simon Sinek actually says it perfectly. He's like, you know, if you wake up in the morning and the first thing you do is you reach for the bottle, you might be an alcoholic. If you can't go room to room without carrying, you know, your alcohol with you, you might have a problem. But like, can you go to the bathroom and leave your cell phone in the other room? Most people can't do it. Like, can you make it through a meal without picking up your cell phone and checking it over and over and over? Most people can't do it. We're so addicted to it because it literally is releasing chemical within you. When you learn these things about yourself, that's probably not the way you want to start your day. So it's like, try it different tomorrow. Just give yourself one day where you wake up, give yourself 30 minutes earlier than you typically do, but set it up in a way that you like. That's why I say put your phone in the other room. If it's right next to you, it's so much easier to just hit snooze and go back to bed. If you don't have any clothes there, it's like, oh, I would, but man, I got to go in my room and I got to find clothes to wear. No, you're answering all those questions. You have no excuse. So at that point, if you choose to go back, you're just choosing to stay the exact same.
Now, Grant, why do people fall back into old habits so easily?
Okay, so I think, well, one of the biggest things is, so it's all the research around habitual change is that it takes anywhere from 66 to 365 days. So let's say, think about that. You can change a habit that you've had for 20, 30 years within 365 days. 1 year trade-off for 30 years, I don't think that's too bad. That's a pretty good gig. We go back to old patterns when we haven't given ourselves enough time to implement the new one. I always say, because I've always had this thing around awareness and discipline, like how everyone's like, discipline's the number one thing. Like you need discipline. Discipline outweighs motivation. I'm like, yeah, but I feel like there's something that outweighs discipline also. And to me, it's awareness, because I have all these friends and stuff that like go to the gym all the time. And I'm like, okay, cool. That's discipline, I guess. Discipline says you are going to go 5 days a week. You got to be here 5 days a week, even if you don't feel like it. But like, what if you wake up and your pec is strained? And you're going, nope, I'm supposed to go hit chest today. Discipline says I have to do it no matter what. Okay, you go in there and you tear your pec. Now you can't lift for 13 weeks. You have to have surgery. So I realized there was a correlation between the two, and it's discipline creates the change in your life, and then awareness allows you to sustain it. So you do need to be disciplined. You're going to have that time period where like, it doesn't matter what you feel. It doesn't matter what you want. If you want to make change, you have got to carry out the habit and the behavior over and over and over. It's going to be difficult. It's not difficult to you. It's difficult for your brain. Your brain is working against you because your brain's going, no, let's do what we always do. Your subconscious. So if you think from your shoulders up, your brain, your head, that's your conscious mind, your like real time, short-term memory, your masculine energy. And then from your neck down is your subconscious mind, your long-term memory, and your feminine energy. So it's all your emotion. So head is all the thought, body's all the emotion. So your subconscious mind is your long-term memory. So when you hear a trainer tell you a different way to eat, maybe you're hearing it and you're like, okay, so I have to eat this way for at least, it's going to be 8 weeks. I have to be consistent before I'm really going to see any change. It's fair. Like I've eaten like trash for the last 15, 20 years. That's not a bad trade-off. I can totally do that. Makes sense. Everything's good. I can do this. And then like 3 days into that diet, you're like, I can't do this. This is impossible. It's because that short-term memory was going, this logically makes sense. Emotionally, in your subconscious, your long-term memory kicks in and goes, this is not what we do. We don't eat this way. We're not going to be okay. We're not going to survive. And at that moment, you experience a feeling in your body and it goes to your brain, and then you try to match it. So then your brain starts telling you all the threats of whatever it is you're doing and why it's not going to work out for you.
Yeah, something that we talked about before the podcast is ice baths, for one. How does an ice bath help your mind and body?
So I've actually spent the last 2 years, little over 2 years now. So I've been doing ice baths since 2007 when I played football at Ohio State. We had an enormous like ice tub there that you could fit about 30 people in, had the jets and everything was like in ground. And I always loved it. Like, I mean, of course I hated it, but I loved it. And then I didn't do it for years. And then I started doing it again a lot in like 2015. Then I started incorporating it into my business because I realized so much of what people have to do when they're making change in their life is everything feels like a threat. Well, what perceives the threat? What activates that threat? It's your nervous system. So as soon as we think there's a threat, our nervous system kicks in. And at that point, we're hyper vigilant. And then we stay in this space of being elevated all day long. We're cortisol and adrenaline, and we get addicted to it. We literally become addicted. Stress hormone is like one of the most addictive things there are. So I started incorporating this with all my clients because they're all trying to make change in their life. So you have to learn how to regulate your nervous system. You have to learn how to show up different to conversations. You have to learn how to show up different in the world as you, which is going to feel like a threat. It's going to feel scary. Nobody comes to me because they're like, I'm exactly who I want to be. People come to me and go, man, like I'm not living the way I want to live. I want to have better relationships. I want to take care of my body. I want to have a more purposeful business, whatever it might be. That means you're going to have to change something from what you're currently experiencing. So you have to learn how to regulate your nervous system. And then because of that, we got connected with this company that has, always specialized in like red light and infrared and wellness. And they had just launched an ice tub about 2 years ago. And my ex-wife and I at that point went and we were going to guide people through it. And it totally took off and it was awesome. And I spent the last 2 years traveling with them, guiding people on a regular basis through ice baths. And the biggest thing I've come to realize is I think it's a trend, obviously, to like bash anything that's a trend. And in 2020, ice baths became like super trendy on social media because it's like this challenge, it's this kind of like masculine thing of like, oh, look at what I can sustain because it's so uncomfortable. So through that, you had a lot of people that started like pushing back on it, being like, oh, this is stupid. It's not going to change your life. And I'm like, okay, maybe this isn't directly going to change your life. Going to the gym isn't going to change your life, but the confidence you gain from going to the gym, man, that can change your life. Like any one individual small change you make in your life, that doesn't change everything. It leads to a plethora of other things. Now, an ice bath, to me, there's so many things to it because to me, what that water represents is it's a significant other saying something to you that triggers you and makes you mad and you fire back at it. It's someone cutting you off in traffic. It's a presentation you have to give that you're so scared about. It's your boss. It's a coworker. It's someone that just gets under your skin. It's, I'm going to be late for work. It's the habitual stress that you live in all the time. And it's learning how to create such a resiliency within your system against that. And literally, I just saw it the other day and I've always thought this, but I've never formulated it in this way. And Layla Hormozi had a post about this the other day. Someone asked her, what's resiliency? And she's like, well, I consider resiliency to be how quickly can I return myself to baseline? And I was just like, man, like that's exactly what it is. That's the idea. How quickly can I experience a stressor in my reality and still come right back to baseline? So I'm not operating in this place that's like these goggles that put on, because when your nervous system kicks in, man, like you're screwed. Men, it can be active for up to 9 hours and women up to 24 hours. And typically, how often do you just do one thing? Like how often in the morning does like your husband or your wife say something to you that just really ticks you off? Because of that, you're you're like a little angry and you're moving a little bit different and you spill your coffee on yourself. You're like, oh shit. And you do that. And now you stub your toe when you go to, because you got to hurry up. And then you back out of the driveway really fast and you spill something in your car. And it's just like little thing after thing after thing. And every time we re-trigger ourselves, we reset the clock to the point where most of us are living in a constant elevated state and we don't even realize it.
Yeah, so ice baths can really help out someone's stress. I mean, can ice baths help out with stress? Can you unpack that a little bit more?
Yeah, so think about what that water is. Think about just the simple idea that like you tell somebody like, hey, you're going to hop in this 37 degree water let's go for 3 minutes. And they're like, well, hell no, like I'm not going to do that. Why would I do that? That's ridiculous. That's going to be so bad. And they build up all this anticipation, this anxiety about it. Well, the more you can learn how to kind of turn that off, that you can experience that stressor and you can use your breath, literally your breath and your posture, the way you hold your body. So many of us are very unaware that the way our posture and the way we like move and the way we hold ourselves will actually activate our nervous system just as much. Think about it. Like if you're walking down a dark alley and someone's walking towards you, you're probably not going to put your arms up in the air, right? Because you're not going to, and this is very primal. Like we don't consciously think these things. We don't realize that we like kind of close ourselves up when we're feeling under attack, threatened, embarrassed, whatever it is, because we're covering our organs, we're covering our ribs, all of our vital organs, everything to keep us alive. We tuck our legs closer together. You're protecting your femoral artery. Like you're literally all your life force, like everything that's like vital to you, you'll start protecting it a little bit more when you feel under attack, to the extent that nowadays, well, we're embarrassed if we have a little bit of a belly. So we kind of like hunch over a little bit more. We breathe into our ribs. We want to keep our belly tight. So we're like stimulating our own anxiety, essentially breathing into our ribs. And now we're hunching forward and our arms are crossed. I mean, most people sit like this all day. Like just do this. Just become aware of the people in your life when you're talking to them. They cover up their body, one arm across, or they slouch over there. It's like they want to hide themselves. People want to be small. When you're big, you take these big belly breaths, well, your system doesn't activate, because if I was under attack, I wouldn't be able to do this. I would not be doing this right now. So I can literally, on a physiological level, I can change what's happening to my body. I can change the biology that's firing within my system. I can shut off my nervous system, or I can shut off my I can shut off my sympathetic nervous system from kicking in, which is the fight or flight, because it's just there to protect you. It's nothing to be mad about. It's gotten you to this point, but sometimes it gets it wrong. How many times have you gone into a discussion with like a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a significant other, whatever, and you already have a lens of what's happening and it's totally offbeat, and you guys might end up breaking up, divorcing because of it, only to like months or years later, you kind of have this realization. You go, man, like I totally didn't even see that the way I thought. I wasn't even experiencing reality. I was experiencing my perception and my forethought and my fear of what was going to happen. So when you can learn how to consistently put yourself to that stressor and I can regulate against it, well, that's what's creating the resiliency within your body. That's what can lower your stress. No matter what, it's not like You get in, it's very rare to get to a point where you're like, I'm just going to hop in this 30 some degree water. And you're like, no problem. It's always going to be uncomfortable. So it's the ability to learn how to regulate against that on a regular basis.
And for the listener out there that does not have an ice bath or anything like that, you can take a cold shower. It's the same routine. You just put it on really cold, let it hit your face, hit the back of your head, and just sit in there for about 3 minutes, you say?
Yeah. So anywhere from, like, and there's a couple different, everyone's got different theories on it. You can talk to Huberman or Ben Greenfield, or everyone's got different ideas of what they're going for. But to me, the ultimate benefit of all of it is just nervous system regulation. So one, the water has to be something that's it has to be uncomfortable. Like, it can't be like, people are like, well, so-and-so says it just needs to be 60 degrees or less. And it's like, dude, I can hang out in 60 degrees totally fine. I don't hear, like, if you say, I'll do 60 degrees, it's not cold enough for you. You need that one that you're like, okay, let's do 45. And you're like, ooh, no, I don't want to do that. You need to have a reaction that's like, no, that's not what I want. So, and then you get in, and instead of thinking like a set duration of time, so there's two different regulations that happen. There's you being comfortable with what's happening. Like, you can be like, this is fine. I'm kind of used to this. And then there's actual full body regulation that happens. And that's the moment where you can feel your body just kind of almost turn to jello. And that usually happens around anywhere from 60 seconds to about 120 seconds. So anywhere from 1 minute to 2 minutes. And it usually hits between like a minute 30 and a minute 45 seconds. And it's on a big exhale. It's where your whole body you relax. And at that point, you're looking at maybe like another minute. So anything outside of 5 minutes is just diminishing returns. There's no point. There's no benefit. There's nothing macho about it. Like, people do that stuff and it's a little bit more ego, but there's not really a benefit past that.
No, that kind of advice can help so many people out there.
Well, and it's the ability to, for example, as weird as this might sound, I think taking a shower is so much harder. Which it sounds crazy because people are like, well, I would think a full bath where you're immersed in it. Yeah, but a shower is like, it's random kind of the way it's hitting you, right? And then it's like it's going to run off onto different parts. And every time that cold water hits a different part of your body, even if you're in a full immersed in an ice bath up to your neck, if you move your neck down just a little bit, you have to re-regulate all over again. So you have to constantly re-regulate in the shower. So the biggest cue to remember is to breathe, like big inhales in through the nose, fill your belly up, push your belly out. And most people don't want to do that because it's like we're so used to breathing shallow into our ribs, because who wants to have a big belly? But when I expand my belly, I give my organs room to move, my lungs drop and turn into vacuums, I suck in more oxygen, stimulates my vagal nerve, I'm safe, I'm fine, I'm comfortable. At that point, I don't want to sit there the whole time and have my shoulders shrugged up and my elbows tucked into my side, because all I'm trying to do is I'm trying to protect myself. I have to learn how to communicate to my body I'm safe in a stressful situation, which means even though that water is uncomfortable, I'm going to shove my shoulders down away from my ears, because my body just knows that when my shoulders go up and my traps come up around my neck, my elbows come in tight, I'm protecting myself. There's a threat in the area. Something's happening. So when you do this just on your day-to-day, because you're like, oh, I don't want Jimmy from the mailroom to see my gut when I sit here like this, you're actually starting to stimulate your own nervous system.
Now, Grant, with all your years of experience, what's one of the best pieces of advice you've ever given to someone who feels lost right now?
Well, if you're lost, you're in the best place ever, because you're in the place where you're finally able to create yourself. We're lost. The only time we're lost is when we think there's somewhere we're supposed to be, and that's going to be based on our previous conditioning, which is not typically ours, it's someone else's. So when, people will go to med school and they'll drop out of college because they're like, God, I can't do this. They don't know what it is. They're just like, I don't want to do this. They're like, I feel so lost. Well, you feel so lost because you spent your whole life following someone else's GPS. That wasn't yours. So when you feel lost, that's the ability for you to create your own map. You're more found than you've ever been. You're more with yourself than you've ever been. It just is going to feel unfamiliar. That's it. Like, it's not a bad thing. It's the ability to start shifting and changing the relationship you have to what that means to you. What does it mean to feel lost? Like last year, I lost everything that I knew to be my safety net, my comfort zone. My wife, we were together for 5 years. On a Thursday night, we decided we were going to be getting a divorce. On Friday was our 5-year anniversary. On Monday, like 3 days later, I lost my 16-year-old dog that had been with me since he was 6 weeks old. She was going to go back home for a few months to where her family is from and spend like a month there and like kind of figure some stuff out. And she took our other 14-year-old dog with her. He had a seizure on the way and he passed away a week or two later. Everything that I knew to be mine and like my family, my comfort zone, man, it was gone. Just like 1, 2, 3, like boom, just like that. It was like ripping off a Band-Aid. And was very uncomfortable. I'm not going to say like I 100% felt lost. And it's because everything in my life was changing. Everything that I knew wasn't there anymore. But it's just what I didn't know then. Like, I mean, where I was at, everything that I was about to experience, I was about to find myself more than I ever have before, because there's all these other factors in our lives. And please, if you're already in a relationship, don't think you can't do this work on yourself while being in a relationship. I don't want to sound like that, but the gift to me was to have everything stripped away from me simultaneously. I had to create a whole new version of myself. I had to find myself. I didn't have anything to turn to. I have great family, don't get me wrong, but like that feeling that you get when you go through extreme heartbreak or loss, and you're like, God, there's no one to turn to because nobody understands. And it's like people can say comforting things, but it doesn't feel fulfilled. It's because that's for you. It's literally you. So when you got you, you're never lost. Most of us are so used to all these external things being what define us. The relationship we're in, people we hang out with, the car I drive, the money I have, the job I am, whatever it is. The reality is like, it's just you. If you took everything else away, what would you be? And it's like, I feel so good with what I would be if I had nothing, because now it allows me to operate and move very swiftly. I don't do anything that's not in alignment with me. I just don't, because I already know what it's going to feel like down the road if I do. When I feel lost, quote unquote, because I'm not going to act like that's not a thing people experience, but when I feel lost, it immediately, now I have it set up in my brain that that's a trigger to go like, great, you get to create. I'm never lost. I'm just a blank canvas.
Yeah, feeling lost is actually a good thing if you really think about it.
It's a gift, such a gift. That means you've been stripped away of everything. That means like you have not, like when we have so much to lose, we're so afraid to operate. We're so afraid to make moves. And when you have nothing to lose, that's a dangerous person, because what won't you do? You know, obviously, like to me, there's only really two universal rules and laws. One is to not harm another person, and the other is to not get in anyone else's way of getting to what they want, unless it's like a competition or something. I'm not saying be like, you go first. No, I'm saying like stepping on people, using people, lying, manipulation to get to where you want to be in life. To me, of course, there's laws and, there's rules and regulations throughout everything in the world. But to me, those are the two universal ones that if you follow those, you can create and build whatever you want.
Yeah, with you being a coach to helping men, I believe a lot of men out there are lost with a loss of a relationship, a loss of a job, a loss of maybe even a car or an animal or a pet or something like that. I mean, there's so much stuff that stops people from doing what they actually want to do in this world because like they get distracted. So what's one of the most important things men can work on today?
Okay, so this is extremely loaded because to me, in my opinion, the thing men are most lost on is how to show up, how to be themselves, how to be the man, how to be a man. What is okay? Because again, everything, social media, everywhere you look, everything's going, men are scum, they're horrible, they're oppressive. And it's like, that's not true. There are men that are like that, but that's not what masculinity is. Masculinity is the ability to lead. Everyone's like pounds their chest and talks about the word alpha. And if you cry, I literally just saw this thing the other day on a podcast. I was like, this older guy that's like, well, if you cry, you're a beta and all this stuff. And it's like, what? Like this whole idea of alpha, beta, like these hierarchies. And it's like, do you realize that within the hierarchy of things like that, like emotions isn't a problem. It's not a thing at all. That hierarchy is based on leadership, support, following, like which part are you, and understanding. And it's never just one. Like anyone who tells you they're an alpha, that's a pretty sure sign they're not, because it's not like a role. It's a responsibility. It's a responsibility to lead. It's a responsibility to go first. It's a responsibility to take fault for anything that goes wrong and give away the credit for anything that goes right. And then beta is actually very needed. That's like saying like Scottie Pippen wasn't anything. Well, Michael Jordan wouldn't have been Michael Jordan without Scottie Pippen. He's great, but like Scottie Pippen played a very important supporting role. So, and because of that, it let the rest of the team follow along and play their roles accordingly. So this whole idea of like what we call ourselves and pound our chest and do all these things as men is so fucking ridiculous. The reality is if you really want to be the man, then exemplify your masculine quality of courage and be willing to tap into your feminine energy also. Deal with the pain, deal with the confusion you've had throughout your life. Like work on your emotions, master every part of yourself. Don't turn a blind eye to it, because suppressing it doesn't make it go away. And this is the thing that all men turn away from, because they've been conditioned to believe that we're weak if we cry, if we have emotion of any of these things. I'm not talking about going in the middle of the street and just break down for no reason. I'm talking about, but like, if you end up crying while you're at home, like doing work on yourself, with yourself, for yourself, that's a completely different thing. And then, like, even if you do have them, but dude, I have no issue crying in front of people. But push comes to shove, you want to look at me and say, because I have tears in my eye, like if there's water in my eye and you say that strips you of your manhood, you didn't know what manhood was to begin with. First of all. Second of all, when the enemy's at the gate, good luck finding someone more than me that you would rather have by your side. And that's the thing. That's one of the biggest realizations. There's nowhere to really channel the idea of what masculinity is anymore, unless you like sign up for battle and you for the military and you go off to war. Because the reality is we don't have the world wars. We don't have wars all the time the way we used to. Like, they don't show up the same way. So now the war becomes, what does all the girls think of me on social media? Like, that's literally what our threats become, because you got to remember, your brain, your body, your system, it's not hardwired for 2025. It's hardwired for 50,000 years ago when we evolved as a species. Tribalism, primal things, like it's so bizarre. Like, we think, I'm going to eat this way because I want to have abs for my beach vacation. Your body doesn't give a shit. Your body does not care about the shirtless selfie that you want to take and post on Instagram for validation. It cares about keeping you alive. So when you learn how to give your body, your system, everything what it needs, it's going to give you what you want. You want to show up as a whole person to a relationship. Like, you want to be the man for your family. You want to lead your family. You have to lead yourself first. So be willing to take that on. Drop all the, I know it's difficult in a world where it's been so loud and so noisy for so long of what masculinity is, and man up and just be this, and don't think about emotions, don't cry, don't do, I get it. But if you're hearing this right now, just know, like, there is a different way to live. And that's not what is going to ultimately lead to that. Because if that is the way to be, and it's the way it's always been, then why have suicide rates been so incredibly high in men for so long? Why? Because we don't express anything. We suppress it, we lock it down, we don't know where to go, we feel hopeless. And it's like, cool. How strong is that? There's so much, there might be so much strength in pushing it down. There's so much strength. There's real strength in knowing exactly what you feel and not allowing it to control your life.
What I tell men in my life is become 1% better every single day. You'll be 365% better in a year's time. And I really would rather be a warrior and a gardener in a garden than a gardener in a war. You know what I mean? There's a lot to this. I mean, do you think men today have more pressure than before?
I think they have different pressure. I think we live in a society now, especially with social media, that glorifies the idea of masculinity. Like, men should provide, and like everything you see are these women being like, oh, you should be a traditional man, and like, I want a man who's going to pay for me and provide for me and all this shit. Okay, cool. Then shut down your OnlyFans. Like, I'm just saying, like, I don't care. Do whatever you do, but you can't sit there and demand, like, then be a traditional woman. If you say that, then it's like, oh my God, you're so oppressive and you're part of the patriarch and you're sexist. No, I'm not. But both of us can't raise a family, go out and do our own things, be boss ass bitches 24/7. You want like people today, women today are asking for a man that is emotionally intelligent, understands all these things, but doesn't express any emotion, doesn't tap into any of that thing, is there all the time, but doesn't speak, hears what they have to say, and almost can read their mind on a regular basis, is also there to provide for them, be around them, be there with the family, be a present father, be a present significant other, all these things, but also make enough money in today's, like surviving on one income today as a family. I don't even know how anybody does it, because like prices for everything is absolutely insane. But you put all that together and it's like, this is where I feel like so many people are lost. And again, I'm not speaking and saying everyone's like this. I don't actually, me personally, I've never actually come across a woman that I see like that. However, I've had conversations with them through like podcasts and panels and things like this. But that's also so much of what it is. That's not my frequency at all. Like I don't fuck with anything like that. And it's like, become what you want to see in the world, like really, like I don't experience a lot of the things that you hear about in the societal and political landscape now of all these, the hate and the controversy and everything back and forth. I talk to a lot of people. I travel all over the world. I don't really ever experience that. I'm a big white dude. I don't have anyone just come up to me and inherently be like, you're racist. But like you hear about these things, and I think it literally has to do with who and what you are. Your energy says so much about you. And people don't want to listen to that. People think, oh, that's so dumb. And like you'll literally hear guys be like, oh, that's gay. Okay, well, like have you ever gone up around someone and within seconds, they don't even have to say anything. You can tell whether or not you like someone. You're like whether or not you vibe with them, whether you feel them. That's literally, we all have a energetic force field around us, and it's literally communicating. Like we pick up on other people's energy all the time, and it's like what you're saying about you. So if you really want to be something in this world, like the pressure that you feel is from external sources, and it's from external sources that you are then turning into your own ideology for yourself of what you're supposed to become. But what do you want to be? Like that's the real pressure. That's the real pressure. The real pressure is being something different. Like literally. So it's like there's actually nothing super strong and powerful about not having pain or feelings or emotions. It's, to me, the ultimate sign of courage is to be real.
You know, it feels like men in their 20s like me, all they want to do is just start a business, buy a house, retire to their parents, travel the world, like find a wife, make more money, invest, and like hit the gym every single day. But with all that, it's easy to be pulled in so many different directions at once. How do you help men focus on what really matters?
Yeah, I mean, well, first thing you have to do is identify whether you actually want those things. Or if, like, do you actually want those things? Or are you doing it because you think somebody else wants those things for you, or that's what's expected of you? You know, a lot of the people that you listen to, and like, I'll reference Andrew Tate again, like, no shame, no hate. But let's be real. 99.999% of people that are listening to him don't have resources or access to what he has. It's not like he's just like, oh, I do this all day, every day, and I operate like this. You have a lot of things. He has a lot of things available to him that the average person does not have available to him. I mean, I don't think I'm anything fancy, but even at me, you know, I'm very aware of what I have is, you know, like I have a sauna and cold plunge, and I have red light therapies, and I have all these things. So it's like when I'm talking to people about this stuff's thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars worth of modalities and stuff. And it's like, not everyone lives that way, but there's principles that you can pull away from all these things. And the principles can apply to anything, anywhere, anytime. Like you said, like maybe you don't have an ice bath. There's a cold shower. Everyone's got a cold shower. If you can even go, I'm homeless, which is, I don't know how you'd be listening to this technically right now, but if you don't, say you don't have a shower to even do that in, and you want to learn how to regulate your nervous system, your breath you have with you everywhere all the time. The more intentional breathing you do, the more you can relax and calm your system altogether. It's choices that you have to make. You have to choose to be different. You have to choose to change. And you have to be willing to be different than everything else you see out there right now. I think the majority of young men it's like we're all going after something so similar because it's like we all watch the same YouTubes, the same social media, like the same things are pushed all the time, the same narratives. So it's a product of your environment, and it's like, that's okay, but you're actually a product of the choices you choose to make within that environment, and you have to take responsibility for those. And I was just talking to a guy before this, one of my good friends, both doing really good in business, and it's like, but we do it so different than what so many people do. And it's because both of us were the same way. We're like, man, like traditional marketing and stuff, it's never felt right to us. The whole system, the structure of following it to try to get someone into your ecosystem to buy from you. Because ultimately, yeah, like I'm a coach, like that's how I make a living. But to sit out there and just like try to get clients nonstop, it's never felt right to me. Because it's like, I genuinely want to help people, but it's like, I'm really, really good at it. So at the same time, like, yeah, that's value. But it's the same way people that are really, really good at fixing cars, half of the time they do it and they're just like, oh yeah, no problem. But you would have gone to a garage and paid a lot of money to have somebody actually do that for you. It's because when you just do things, that's the value. So I think what men need to do is they need to just do as many different things as they can. In your 20s, figure out what you're good at. Figure out what like lights you up, what feels right to you. I understand standing apart from the crowd can be very difficult. Then start just bringing awareness around it. Like, what are the situations that you're in that just don't feel right to you? And like, allow yourself to start creating boundaries in your life. Start putting yourself in more situations that you like, and stop tolerating so many situations that you don't like. For men, in terms of like the way you show up to relationship, men are horrible, I think, when it comes to talking to women. I think they're so bad. And it's because we've become so numb to it, because you can go on 30 dates in one night by swiping right or left. And it's like, so let yourself learn how to create coping mechanisms for things. Don't be afraid of rejection. Try it on. Like, there's nothing bad about it, because in a world that is becoming so like digitalized, the thing that by default is going to stand out is whatever's different. And I truly believe the biggest commodity in the world coming up here soon is going to be individuals who still have the ability to speak face to face, who can still communicate, who can use their words. And I'm not talking about that you have to go to ChatGPT first. I'm talking about actually have your own thoughts and speak those thoughts. It's going to become so rare.
All right. This is the part of the show, the Friday mindset part of the show. I want to dig into your journey, your mindset, and the moments that shaped you. What was it like playing on the Ohio State University's football team?
Dude, it was seriously, it was like a dream come true in a lot of ways. In a lot of ways, it was like a nightmare come true. It was, I'd wanted it for so long, so long. I went to a very small high school. We only won 5 games in 4 years. I played varsity all 4 years. And yeah, so I was a part of 5 winning games. And so nobody from Ohio State was coming to recruit at my high school by any means. So I walked on and made it. Everything was great. When I first walked on, it was great. I was a freak of a specimen. I had a buddy from back home who used to be a power lifter, big on the West Side conjugate style of training, and he took it and he started kind of blending it with athletic training and performance, and he started testing out all these things on me. And this is like 2003, 2004, 2005. And when I showed up at Ohio State for tryouts, and like I was a freak. I think I did like 225 for like 48 reps. I was running like a 4.5 high 4.5 40. I was quick. I was fast. I was like 250 pounds. They're all looking at me like, dude, you're a freak. And I was like, this is everything I ever wanted. Like I had walked on right after winter time. Like that's when tryouts are. And so I went, like, we're getting ready to go into spring ball. So we go on spring break. And I come back and my God, the number I asked for, it's in my locker. My helmet's there for the first time. We're all meeting up that Sunday night before classes start again on Monday. I'm going to reach for my jersey just to like pick it up and look at it. The head coach's brother was our running backs coach, and he came and grabbed me. He's like, "Hey, we need to talk real quick." He's like, "Yeah, man. Just so you know, you have a 1.7 GPA." And I'm like, "What does that mean?" And he's like, "I figured you wouldn't understand that even." I just basically what happened is I made the team, and I was getting so much camaraderie and praise from all these guys who I like saw on this TV, and like I was like, "Oh my, they're my heroes, my idols," and I was one of them now. Like they were treating me like I was one of them, and I was hanging out with them all the time. A lot of them were older, didn't have the same kind of class schedule. Didn't really go to class that much. And they were on scholarship. I was a walk-on. As a walk-on, you were expected to uphold a certain level of GPA, and I was way below it. So it took me 2 more years. I got back on the team, made the team. By that point, I had some injuries, and that just led to more injuries and more injuries and more injuries. And it was kind of a sobering realization around some things that at that level, there's a lot of politics involved with stuff, and that's totally fine. And but it was interesting to experience. Like I wouldn't change it for the world. Never got as far with all of it that I wanted to. Obviously, I wanted to go NFL, all that. My body was destroyed, and it wasn't from like hits or anything. It was things like I tore my hamstring 2 weeks before when I tried out for the second time, and I made it, but because of that, I was running weird. Because of that, I got turf toe. And then after turf toe, I was running weird. I jammed up my hip. And then through that process, I realized I had 2 fractures in my low back and that I was born with an extra disc in vertebrae. And as a walk-on, I never had the opportunity. Like if a scholarship guy gets, let's say, turf toe, they medical redshirt him immediately. He has surgery the next day and he's in a boot for like 6 months. I had to play through mine. And it was my right foot, so it was my dominant foot. So I'm moving my body all weird, shifting my hips and my pressure in my body. And I played like that for a long time, not realizing I was creating a compensation pattern, which is what most people do. They tear their ACL, they walk funny for a long time until the point where the bad knee is actually good again. And now your other knee's messed up and your hips jacked up a little bit different because you compensated through your body for so long, but you don't even realize you're doing these things. You're just trying to not feel the primary source of pain. But now one side of your body is taking on all the load that 2 sides of your body is supposed to disperse between it. So now you end up with all these other injuries. It forced me so much for so long. I got into bodybuilding, powerlifting, all these things afterwards. And through that whole process, I had to learn a whole different system for my body because everything hurt so much. And I was like, there's no way I can live like this, which now factors into a lot of the work that I do because the body is literally the subconscious mind. So the more in touch with your body you can be, the more it plays out. So it was an amazing experience. I wouldn't trade it for the world. It's opened so many doors for me because there's something silly about You say you played for Ohio State. Nobody even wants to see your credentials. They're like, I don't care about how much you played. I don't care how many plays you were in. I don't know how much game time you got. Cool. What do you want? What do you want to do? Oh, like, will you coach my son? Cool. Here's $800 a week. Like, I mean, ridiculous. So it was definitely an experience for sure.
Oh, it made you who you are today, which is really cool how you can go through a process like that and become something special out of it.
It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. I mean, there's definitely so many things I learned through that because, and this is a good thing for anybody that's trying to do something with their life and they don't feel like they have a lot of support, because I feel like that's a big thing that we're like, my family doesn't support me and like I have this dream and shut up. Who cares? It's nobody else's responsibility to support you or see your dream. It's your responsibility to bring it to fruition. Maybe it's so big, maybe it's so grandiose, nobody else should be able to understand it. It should be illogical. It should be crazy. It should be delusional. And you should not expect anyone else to be like, yeah, totally. And like the fact that they don't understand it, it's your place to show them it's possible, not to prove anybody wrong, to show them it's possible. And that's what I learned through that whole process. My family supported me. That one coach did. And outside of that, there wasn't a lot of people. Like most people in my hometown made fun of me, scoffed me, which is funny because I actually live back. I'm based out of my hometown again right now. For now, because I've been traveling so incredibly much. I've spent literally like the last 2 years traveling every other week. So I've been living in the house I actually grew up in. It's very, very cool. And it's very interesting to be around these people again and see a lot of them that used to be like, oh, that's never going to happen. And now they're like, hey man, like, will you come speak to my this? Or maybe will you work with my son? Will you do these things? And it's just cool to see because I've never been someone to hold like grudges or like that idea of like wanting to prove people wrong. So many people use hate as their driving force for stuff. And it's like, man, you make that shit aspirational and you get energy on a whole different level. I didn't care about the people that were telling me it wasn't possible. I wanted to show every kid coming up behind me that like it could happen even coming from the school we came from.
That's a great takeaway. Now, what did your father think of you playing for Ohio State University?
I don't really know because when I was a freshman in high school, he did, it was weird. It wasn't like a big argument between him and I. He got upset about something. I want to say it was like on the day of my homecoming, my freshman year. And my one biological sister that I have, she's very protective of me. I'm very protective of her. But she had lived with my dad before. And she thought like this was a big special day to me. She lost her shit on him because of the way he was behaving with me. He got some big grudge with me. We kind of got in. We didn't talk for an entire year. And I grew a lot. Like he was very abusive to all of us growing up. And the biggest thing is no one could really stand up to him. He was a big guy. At that point, he hadn't really seen me much. And I've been big my whole life, but I really got into the gym when I was like 14, 15 years old. So at this point, I'd been in the gym for about 2 years, 3 years. And I got really serious about it my freshman year. And I just remember my freshman year is when I decided I told my mom, I was like, I'm going to go play football at Ohio State. It's like Rudy or something, you know. My mom from the beginning, she's like, okay, cool, let's do it. Never doubted it, never questioned it. And anything I ever needed, she did it. My dad, on the other hand, I hadn't seen him in a long time. My one sister needed to stop by his house for something one day when I was in the car with her. And I think he was probably drunk and he came busting out the door. And he's like, oh, you think you're too good to come in and talk to me? And the windows were tinted, so it was cracked. And he's like, get out of the fucking car. He's like yelling at me. And my sister's like, I don't think you want him to. And I will never forget the feeling of finally stepping out of the car. And I stood up and like I hit his eyesight and I just kept standing up a little bit further. And his like eyes, he was just like, oh shit. And at that moment I was like, what? Like, what do you want us to say? Like, and I looked at him, I was like, I don't ever want to talk to you again. And he's yelling and everything. And I was calm. I didn't know anything about your nervous system, but somehow it was so calm. I think it's because I was still actually really scared to make him mad. But I didn't talk to him. That was 2001. I didn't talk to him again until 2007 when I had this big realization. And I met up with him and I said, hey man, like, I want you to know that like, I don't hate you, but I don't want to have a relationship with you. Like, I don't have any desire for that. I don't feel any pull or need for that. But thank you for being my father. Thank you for giving me the contrast of like, because without you, I would never have understood how amazing my mother is. And like, he gave me, to me, my dad took one for the team in such a big way. He showed me everything I don't want to be. And people discount that a lot. People like, we think we're like, who inspires you? Well, who inspires you to not be a certain way? Because they give you nothing exists without its contrast. It just is. You can go out to San Diego and spend every day in 70 degrees, sunny, beautiful weather. But man, like after a couple of weeks, you just get used to it. you need some bad days. You need some rainy, cold days to really appreciate it. And my dad gave me the contrast for everything I don't want to have in life. So it allowed me to really hyper focus on all the things I do want to be.
Yeah, Grant, what's one truth about life you wish more people understood?
That nothing is permanent. Nothing is permanent. That we are the ones who perpetuate our own suffering all the time. We experience pain and we go, man, this is always going to be there. It will be, but it won't necessarily, it doesn't have to take the form that it currently does. And that pain usually comes from what most of us quantify as our traumas, our pain points in life. But the trauma isn't the event that happened to you. It's the way you coped with it. And that in and of itself is triggering to a lot of people. And my mind always goes to sexual abuse, like, because I work with a lot of women over the years, a lot of women, and so many women experience sexual abuse. And when I have to share, when I get to this point of sharing that with them, like, I'm like, man, that's not your problem. Isn't the rape or the molestation? It's the way you coped with it, the way you responded to it, that ended up creating the life that you experienced, you know? And eventually they get to the point where they're like, wow, it really is what it is. And when you can start seeing life from a different perspective, man, like everything can change. So like if there's taken all that, put it together, and it's like the easiest just one-liner of way to remember a takeaway from that is like, there's always a better way to live.
That's a great takeaway. That's really good. Now, for anyone out there that's struggling with their confidence, what should they do?
Choose yourself. People, like, you don't struggle with confidence because of the way you look. You don't struggle with confidence because of your lack of muscle. You don't struggle with your confidence because of the car you drive or the money you have. Like, we think that's what it is. So we try to change those things, but then we get in the Lamborghini and we still struggle with confidence. We make all the money and we still feel ashamed. Or we get the abs and we're actually more insecure. Confidence comes from choosing yourself. Like, in choosing yourself is not even just about not people pleasing. It's doing what is always going to be best for you, as long as it's not at the expense of somebody else. Like, again, back to that rule, like, as long as you're not harming another person or getting in their way, like, have the difficult conversation. Don't keep yourself in rooms, situations, friendships, relationships outside, like when it's very unhealthy for you. You gain confidence when your system goes, this dude's going to choose us. Right now, like, if you had a friend that bailed on you every time you got into, like, let's say a fist fight, let's say you got jumped at recess every day, and your best friend every day when you got jumped took off, hightailed it out of there, maybe you'd understand, but you wouldn't count on him. You wouldn't depend on him. And then one day he stands by your side and you're like, man, that's different, but you still don't trust him yet. You don't feel that yet. But when he shows up day after day after day after day after day, you're like, okay, things are different. Again, it blends out that old programming. You are that friend to yourself. Most of us have abandoned ourselves for so long that it's like, well, I ate the salad today, but why don't I have the abs? It's like, well, I went to bed at 10 o'clock last night instead of 2 a.m. Like, why is my life different? It's like, man, you have to do it over and over and over for a while, and you will start seeing your life change. But that's the biggest thing. Confidence comes from choosing yourself, from choosing what's right for you, as opposed to falling into what feels good at the moment or what you think is going to make someone else happy. If it feels out of line with you, no. But that's where confidence comes from. You're going to be confident in doing what's right for you.
That is one of the biggest things, is to know thyself. And
yeah.
The show is called Every Day is Friday, and Friday has a special energy, whether it's freedom, excitement, or just feeling of accomplishment after a long week. I want to hear from you. What does Friday mean to you?
Yeah, that's funny. It's funny because it's like, when I saw the name of the podcast, I was like, Friday, the weekends, because I've always had this saying where it's like, how like motivational people would always be like, don't wait for the weekends. And it's like, yeah, sure, don't wait for the weekend to do whatever it is. Don't live for the weekends, but like, man, when they're here, like, you might as well enjoy them. And it's like, so when I think of Friday, it's like the idea of Friday, I work for myself. I don't work a 9 to 5. I've never actually worked a 9 to 5 job. So, but I think still from going to school and everything, like Friday still has that connotation in me with like, oh, we're free, we can do whatever. And it's like, cool, but like, what are you going to do with that time? Like, are you going to relax from the life that you don't like? Or is it now free time to start building towards everything you actually want that life to be?
To the listeners out there, write that down. That was a great takeaway. And I love that definition. And this is your chance to leave the listeners with something powerful. Is there anything else you want to share?
I mean, the biggest thing that I've learned throughout everything, especially over the last year, is it's not that time changes everything. It's that who you are and who you become changes everything if you are willing to change. Nothing's going to change without you changing. Like, you are the source of everything. Like, let yourself become the greatest love story of your own life. Show up for yourself. Lead with love for you. be selfish, not in the way of like push down the old lady at the grocery store and steal the last box of cereal. Be selfish. Like, put yourself first. You can't pour from an empty cup. Stop thinking that you're going to show up to relationships and interactions doing everything for someone else and that they in return are going to do it for you. You do that because you don't know how to do it for yourself. It's uncomfortable to do it for yourself. You don't think you deserve it. And because of that, you pour out to everyone else around you, and then you become resentful to everyone around when they don't return the favor or do it exactly the way you want. So stop asking questions and start making proclamations. Don't say, I love you, like after an argument with a significant other. If you want to say, I love you, I love you. You say it, not to say, hey, are you okay with me? Are we okay? Like make proclamations in your life. Stand so steadfast in who and what you are that everything is a statement instead of a question.
Yeah, one of the things I've learned recently is to say no to people. You don't have to say yes to everything someone says.
Dude, saying no is like one of the most powerful things you can do.
So powerful. And all the information will be in the description down below. I want to make sure that people know where to find you. Where can people follow and support your work?
Right now, like website, all that stuff's being built out. So the easiest place to find everything would be on Instagram, and it's just Grant Dziak.
Highly recommend going to the description down below, hit the link and go to his page, check out what he's up to and what he's doing. And if you need help for men out there or anyone out there, go check him out, reach out, DM him. And he has great content on his page. So everyone, please go out there and go check him out. And I know the listeners got a lot of value out of this, and it's been an awesome conversation. I appreciate you being here.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
And to everyone listening, stay tuned for more amazing stories on Every Day is Friday. If you enjoyed this, make sure you follow, share, and keep that Every Day is Friday mindset going. Until next time, stay inspired and make every day feel like Friday. Until next time, everybody.